The story opens at a large, modern hospital before moving inside to the psychiatry department. In an office, a female psychiatrist asks her young, muscular patient to confirm his bizarre symptom, that he perceives every living creature as a pig. The young man simply nods. Taken aback, the doctor leans forward, asking if he's joking and if he sees her as a pig. With a dead serious expression and intense, glowing eyes, the patient confirms this is correct. The narrative then shifts to the patient's perspective, showing he sees his psychiatrist not as a human, but as an anthropomorphic pig wearing glasses, confirming his unbelievable condition. Despite her shock, the psychiatrist internally notes how handsome he is. Deciding to test his condition, she begins unbuttoning her blouse, suggesting they check his bodily functions. The action catches the young man completely off guard, leaving him wide-eyed and sweating. Leaning closer with her shirt partially open, she seductively asks what he sees. From the patient's perspective, the sight is grotesque. Not only is her head still a pig's, but her breasts have become two smaller, blushing pig heads. In contrast, the psychiatrist's inner thoughts reveal her vanity, finding it impossible that someone so beautiful could be seen as a pig. The patient stands up and bluntly answers, "I see two pigs." Hearing his literal response, the psychiatrist's demeanor changes from seductive to horrified. Clutching her shirt closed, she recoils, finally convinced of his mental illness. Changing the subject, she sits at her desk, holding a model of a human spine, and informs him he has severe spinal problems. She elaborates that his spine is severely deformed and twisted, compressing his brain and optic nerves, theorizing this might be the root cause of his perceptions. The young man is stunned by this revelation, his eyes wide with shock. The doctor gravely explains the only solution is a high-risk surgery to realign his spine, warning that failure could leave him paralyzed from the neck down. The patient nods intently, but his demeanor suddenly changes. He interrupts her with a flat expression and glowing red eyes, reaching for the model and asking for his spine back. The psychiatrist is taken aback, realizing he believes the model is his own spine. She internally laments what a waste it is for such a handsome man to be so delusional. Later, Ye Chuan is seen on a crowded bus, holding a medical report diagnosing him with severe mental illness. The scene shifts to his perspective, showing the bus filled with anthropomorphic pig people. He reflects he has always seen the world this way, speculating it's because his parents were pig butchers. He muses that the condition doesn't affect his daily life, with the major exception of dating. Clutching his diagnosis, Ye Chuan thinks about the day's importance. It's the day he will awaken his profession, and he'd hoped his illness could be cured before the ceremony. Arriving at the magnificent Qingcheng Academy, he sees a crowd of students before a massive, glowing blue crystal. He worries his mental illness could negatively affect the awakening, creating a huge problem for his future. A female voice calls out, and a young woman with long, light blue hair approaches, relieved to see him. She chides him for being late and playfully threatens to beat him up, clenching her fist. From Ye Chuan's perspective, this cute girl is just another pig person, this one with blue-hued features, shaking its fists menacingly. Oblivious, the girl gets comically angry, shaking him and demanding to know if he heard her. Their interaction is noticed by a passing student who calls the girl Shu Lingxuan and teases her for being lovey-dovey with Ye Chuan. A companion adds that they are childhood sweethearts who will probably marry soon. Flustered, Shu Lingxuan shouts at them, then tells Ye Chuan to ignore the gossip. From his perspective, the blue-hued pig girl makes the same suggestion, and he calmly agrees. A commanding voice booms as an elderly man before the crystal announces the ceremony is starting, instructing students to line up. He explains the awakening is based on their core attributes like strength, agility, and spirit, which they've honed at the academy. Higher attributes improve the chance of an advanced profession. He stresses the gravity of the moment, as their awakened profession will affect their entire lives, declaring an advanced combat profession a fate-defying achievement that brings glory to them and the academy. The elder instructs the first student to place their hand on the platform. One by one, students step forward. A muscular boy awakens an intermediate metalworker and looks disappointed. Another awakens an advanced healer, while a third awakens a junior engineer and collapses in despair. The next student, a muscular young man with reddish-orange hair, approaches the crystal. The moment his hand makes contact, it erupts in brilliant golden light, revealing his result. Combat-type profession, rare tier, shadowless bladesman. The academy elder is stunned, his jaw dropping. He exclaims in disbelief that it's a rare tier profession, and the students gasp in shock and awe. The elder, revealed to be the principal, beams with delight and asks for the student's name. The young man proudly introduces himself as Liu Jinglong. Overjoyed, the principal praises him and offers to personally visit his home to discuss his future path. Liu Jinglong thanks the principal, then turns to the crowd, waving smugly as his peers cheer for Bro Long. The principal calls the next name, Ye Chuan. From the crowd, Xu Lingshuan shouts encouragement. The principal observes Ye Chuan with interest, knowing that while the boy is strange, his stats are insanely high. He reflects that Ye Chuan's combined attribute total is 10, over 3 times the average. Hoping for a miracle, he watches Ye Chuan place his hands on the platform. Instantly, the crystal explodes with a cataclysmic surge of lightning, far more powerful than before, its force buffeting the principal and sending the crowd reeling. The principal stares, aghast at the power, wondering if the blinding energy is golden light, a sign of an awakening beyond rare tier. As Ye Chuan stares at the raw power he's unleashed, the principal's eyes widen. "Divine tier!" he yells, confirming the legendary highest possible tier. The energy coalesces, and glowing words announce the baffling result. Life-type profession, Divine Pig Butcher. The principal is left speechless and horrified, unable to comprehend how a divine tier awakening resulted in a simple pig butcher. The student's shock turns to mockery. The crowd erupts in laughter, questioning if the crystal malfunctioned and debating whether a divine tier awakening makes Ye Chuan incredibly lucky or unlucky. The principal seethes with rage and disappointment, feeling heaven is playing a cruel joke on him. After years as principal, he finally saw a legendary divine tier awakening, only for it to be the most useless profession, a pig butcher. He laments that a divine blacksmith or healer would have been something to boast about for years. Overcome with frustration, he thinks the higher his hopes were, the bigger the disappointment. Turning to the isolated Ye Chuan, the principal is at a loss for words, managing only a deep, frustrated sigh as the boy walks away. As he walks, Ye Chuan notices something unexpected. A holographic blue screen that only he can see. It's a system interface displaying his complete status, including his new profession, talents, and skills. His talents are Swine Nemesis and Blade of GODLIKE, and his first skill is Blood Shadow Butcher, which forces pigs into a state of fear. Most importantly, his Swine Nemesis talent grants a 50% bonus damage to pigs, a bonus that increases with every pig killed, while also reducing damage from pigs by half. Ye Chuan's eyes lock onto Swine Nemesis. As he reads about the 50% damage bonus, a subtle smile spreads across his face. The full implication dawns on him, his eyes glowing with red intensity as a powerful realization washes over him. He thinks that maybe being a lunatic isn't so bad. The final scene shows his perspective again. The entire academy, from the dejected principal to the jeering students, is a massive crowd of pigs. He concludes with the triumphant thought that his new powers are perfect because in his eyes, the entire world is full of pigs. As Ye Chuan walks away from the awakening crystal, still shocking the principal, his classmates start to make fun of him. Liu Jinglong and his friend laugh at him openly. The friend mockingly says he expected a real dragon, not a pig butcher, and then praises Liu Jinglong as the only real dragon at the academy. Liu Jinglong smugly agrees. In the middle of the mocking, Xu Lingshuan walks over to support Ye Chuan. She gently pats his head and tells him it's okay. She tries to find a bright side, pointing out that as a divine-level pig butcher, he is following in his father's footsteps. While she comforts him, other students look on with envy. 2 boys are crying, upset at Ye Chuan's amazing luck for awakening a divine tier profession at all. Blushing, Xu Lingshuan adds that her father and Ye Chuan's father will be happy with the news. Ye Chuan remembers that he and Xu Lingshuan have been neighbors since they were kids. A flashback shows their parents, who all have life-type jobs, always trying to set them up together. Their talk is cut short when the principal, who has calmed down a bit, calls the next name. Xu Lingshuan. It's her turn. Looking nervous and excited, she turns to Ye Chuan and wonders if she will get her mother's tailoring profession or her father's winemaking one. Then, she sincerely promises him that no matter what she awakens, she will always stay with him. Ye Chuan is left speechless by her promise. Taking a deep breath, Xu Lingshuan nervously walks to the awakening crystal and places her hand on it. The moment she touches it, a huge pillar of bright, icy blue light shoots into the sky, much more powerful than any of the awakenings before it. Xu Lingshuan is stunned, her eyes wide with shock at the power. The principal is even more amazed than before, his face showing total disbelief. He yells out that it is a legendary profession, a level even higher than Liu Jinglong's rare one. As the light swirls, the crystal shows her destiny. Combat-type profession. Legendary tier, Snow Soul Sword Immortal. The principal can't believe it. He is amazed she awakened a legendary combat profession, especially since both her parents have simple life-type jobs. He decides her awakening must be the result of a very rare mutation. When the blue aura of her new power fades, Xu Lingxuan stands confidently, her whole attitude changed. The principal, seeing her now as the academy's top student, approaches her with great respect. He promises that Qingcheng Academy will give her its full support for whatever she needs. With a graceful smile, she thanks him and walks off the platform, now a very powerful and important figure. The crowd notices the huge difference between their awakenings. Two female students gossip, one wondering if Xu Lingxuan, now a legendary fighter, will still follow the pig butcher Ye Chuan around. Her friend says no, stating that Xu Lingxuan is improving while Ye Chuan is not, and that the loser should be smart enough to leave her alone. As Xu Lingxuan approaches him, Ye Chuan offers a simple congratulations. However, her attitude has completely changed. She calls his name in a cold, serious voice. With her arms crossed, she says there may have been some misunderstandings between them, but she wants to clear things up. She then coldly tells him that they are no longer from the same world. Ye Chuan is clearly stunned by what she said. Meanwhile, Liu Jinglong and his friend watch from the side, smiling and enjoying the public rejection. To everyone's surprise, however, Ye Chuan's shock quickly turns into cheerful agreement. Thinking he is just putting on a brave face, Xu Lingxuan continues in a pitying tone. She tells him she knows this must be hard, and he doesn't have to pretend he is fine. She coldly says that as just a pig butcher, he will never do anything important. At this, Ye Chuan's face hardens as he tells her not to blame him for his reaction. The scene shifts to his view, where the now proud-looking pig-faced girl says that if he agrees, they should not bother each other in the future. While Xu Lingxuan stands there, confused by his reaction, Ye Chuan has a small, relieved smile. His inner thoughts show he is happy to finally get rid of the pig head. He then turns to leave, casually telling her he will be going, which leaves her completely shocked. Seeing Xu Lingxuan's confused state, Liu Jinglong walks up to her with a smug smile. He offers to teach Ye Chuan a lesson to help him face reality. Xu Lingxuan stays silent and looks unhappy, but Liu Jinglong takes this as a yes, his expression turning meaner. Without waiting for an answer, he yells at the departing Ye Chuan, calling him a pig butcher and telling him to come over. Ye Chuan keeps walking, ignoring him completely, which surprises Liu Jinglong. Angry at being ignored, Liu Jinglong rushes forward, grabs Ye Chuan's arm, and angrily asks if he is deaf. Ye Chuan finally stops and turns, his eye glowing with a dangerous red light. He calmly asks what Liu Jinglong wants. Suddenly, a dark and scary aura bursts from Ye Chuan, covering him in shadow and making Liu Jinglong freeze. Overwhelmed by the intense pressure, Liu Jinglong cries out and stumbles backward in fear. The source of his fear is revealed. Liu Jinglong is trapped in a scary vision from Ye Chuan's ability. In his mind, he sees himself as a terrified pig tied to a chopping block. Ye Chuan looms over him, his eyes glowing red as he raises a large butcher's knife. Liu Jinglong is frozen with the fear of being killed. The vision breaks, and back in reality, Liu Jinglong is on the ground, pale and sweating. The crowd, not knowing about the mental attack, laughs at his sudden fall. His friend rushes to his side, asking what happened, but Liu Jinglong can only stare in a panic. Humiliated and angry, Liu Jinglong gets up and glares at Ye Chuan. He furiously yells and throws a powerful punch at his face. However, Ye Chuan reacts with amazing speed. With a calm look and a glowing eye, he meets the punch with his own fist. The two fists are about to hit, with Ye Chuan's body covered in a red aura. The impact is instant and powerful. Liu Jinglong pulls back, screaming in pain, his hand red and broken, the bones seemingly crushed by the force of Ye Chuan's block. The shocking result leaves everyone, including Xu Lingxuan and Liu Jinglong's friend, completely stunned. They can only stare, wondering what is happening. Holding his broken hand, Liu Jinglong yells in disbelief, finding it impossible that he was beaten by just a pig butcher. In contrast, Ye Chuan stands calmly in a crackling red aura. He coolly says that as a pig butcher, it makes sense for him to have strong hands, finally showing a small piece of his profession's true, hidden power. As Ye Chuan stands his ground, the crowd is in an uproar. Liu Jinglong's friends question what is happening, pointing at the terrible state of his friend's hand. Full of pain and rage, Liu Jinglong screams at Ye Chuan, threatening to kill him. He roars as he channels his power, creating a bright cyan energy sword, his void longsword, in his good hand. Seeing this, the gossiping girls in the crowd are sure the fight is over. One says that Liu Jinglong is finally getting serious, and Ye Chuan is dead for sure. The other wonders why a pig butcher would dare fight a combat class user, wishing he had just apologized when he could. The crowd knows Liu Jinglong's sword is strong enough to cut through a steel pipe. Burning with shame and wanting revenge, Liu Jinglong raises his weapon, screaming he is going to cripple Ye Chuan. But just as he is about to strike, the air grows cold and snowflakes begin to fall. Ice starts to form along the blade of his energy sword. The frost spreads quickly, covering Liu Jinglong's body in ice and freezing him. He struggles, horrified that his body won't move. He turns his head with great effort and glares at Shu Lingxuan, angrily asking why she is still helping Ye Chuan. Shu Lingxuan stands with her arms crossed, surrounded by a powerful frosty aura. With a cold presence, she tells them to stop. Looking at them both, she explains she doesn't want to see them fighting over her. The scene pulls back, showing the three of them standing apart in the plaza. Shu Lingxuan looks at Ye Chuan one last time and says he must see now that they are not from the same world anymore. She tells him this is the last time she will help him, and that it's a final farewell to their past. In response, Ye Chuan just stands there with a bored look, casually picking his ear, not bothered by her words at all. With her back to him, she gives him one last warning to leave Qingqing. She makes it clear that the next time Liu Jinglong seeks revenge, she will not help him again. Ye Chuan, however, is not impressed. He lets out a large yawn and casually says that if there is nothing else, he will be going, turning to leave. The two gossiping girls who were watching are left confused, saying to each other that the boy isn't taking the serious situation seriously. The scene changes, and Ye Chuan is now walking alone down a city street at dusk. His walk is interrupted by a woman with a large, mean-looking dog. The dog barks aggressively, blocking his path. Ye Chuan's eye flashes with a faint red glow as he notices them. Instantly, his view of reality changes. To him, the woman is a large pig woman, and her dog is a monstrous snarling boar. Back in reality, the dog lunges and bites his pants leg. Unfazed, Ye Chuan calmly asks the owner if she can pull her pig away before correcting himself to dog, saying it is blocking his path. His comment makes the woman furious. From Ye Chuan's view, the pig woman gets in his face and screams at him, asking if he owns the road and accusing him of having no manners. Instead of getting angry, a sense of calm comes over Ye Chuan. He takes a deep breath, thinking this is perfect timing. He has a theory about his new powers he wants to test. Without hesitating, Ye Chuan tests his theory. He gives the aggressive dog a single, powerful kick that glows with a faint blue energy. The kick is instantly fatal. The owner watches in horror as the dog's spirit floats up from its body. She cries out in despair, calling the animal her son. Immediately, a blue system notification appears in Ye Chuan's vision, confirming his extra damage has increased by 1%. Staring at the message with wide, glowing eyes, he confirms his theory was right. His swine nemesis ability works on any creature he sees as a pig. The enraged owner lunges at him, her face twisted with rage. She screams that he is a murderer for killing her son and threatens to fight him to the death. Unfazed, Ye Chuan simply states that he is a psychopath. To prove it, he calmly pulls out his medical diagnosis, showing her the word psycho on it. With a cold expression, he asks if there is anything else. Otherwise, he is leaving. The woman is terrified. She thinks she has run into a real psychopath and that if he could kill her dog, he could easily kill her. Her aggressive attitude disappears. Putting on a forced smile, she quickly tells him it was nothing and wishes him well. The story moves to Ye Chuan's home. Inside, he is greeted by his parents. His muscular father, Ye Qiyuan, laughingly asks if he really became a pig butcher, while his mother smiles gently. Ye Chuan confirms it. His father is overjoyed, pulling him into a proud hug. He calls him a stinky kid and says he's happy Ye Chuan is taking after him, believing it's great to be honest pig butchers. He feels this life is better than fighting and killing, and tells Ye Chuan he will take him to the slaughterhouse the next day. Later that night, Ye Chuan is sleeping peacefully in his bed, wearing a pig-themed onesie. While the family sleeps, a mysterious figure in shadows, with one glowing blue eye, appears outside the home. The figure appears at his parents' bedroom window. The shadowy figure, whose face is wrapped in bandages, expresses disbelief that the son of Ghost Cry is a simple pig butcher. He then asks Yechuan's father if the boy is really his son. In the darkness, Yekyuan's eye snaps open. He is awake and looks much tougher than before. He warns the figure not to disturb their family again, threatening to be less polite next time. The shadowy figure advises him not to be angry. It seems to have confirmed what it came for, stating that since the son is just a pig butcher, the organization will not trouble them anymore. With that, the mysterious figure vanishes into the darkness. The next day, Ye Qiyuan takes his son to the family slaughterhouse. The large facility is lined with pig carcasses on hooks. Wearing a black apron, Ye Chuan follows his father with a serious look. Ye Qiyuan tells him that a good pig butcher needs a good knife. He leads Ye Chuan to a special case holding 3 large cleavers and encourages his son to pick one. Ye Chuan looks at the knives and reaches for the one in the middle. The moment he grips it, a blue system notification appears. It says a pig-slaying knife has been selected and his god-slaying edge talent is now active. This ability will give him 0.1 free attribute points for every pig he kills with this knife. With his son armed, Ye Qiyuan begins the first lesson. He explains that the first step is to learn how to use the knife as a large pig carcass is hoisted before them. From Ye Chuan's view, the dead animal looks like a monstrous, snarling boar. His father continues, telling him to aim for the weak spot for a clean, one-hit kill. He then steps back and tells Ye Chuan to try. Following his father's instruction, Ye Chuan swings his new cleaver. The blade glows with red energy as it cleanly slices through the pig carcass, decapitating the monster in his vision in a single move. A system notification appears, confirming the kill of one chilled normal pig. It tells him his level, bonus damage, and free attribute points have all increased. His father, Ye Qiyuan, praises him, but notes the strike wasn't precise enough, advising him to aim for the next carotid artery to be more efficient. Ye Chuan simply nods. His father places a hand on his shoulder, acknowledging that slaughtering pigs must feel dull for someone his age, but it's how they make a living. However, Ye Chuan's expression is eager. He points to a large bin of carcasses and asks if he can slaughter all of them. His father laughs with pride at his son's enthusiasm and happily agrees, even offering up the pigs belonging to his colleagues for practice. What follows is a montage of focused slaughter. With each swing of his glowing red knife, Ye Chuan kills another pig, and new system notifications show his level rapidly increasing from 2 to 4. At the end of the day, Ye Chuan sits in the quiet slaughterhouse, next to 2 massive piles of slaughtered pigs. He stares at his status screen. A final notification shows his progress. He killed 49 pigs, increased his bonus damage to 100%, and raised his core attributes from 10 to 15. He is now a level 5 apprentice. In the slaughterhouse, his father's colleagues approach in shock. One butcher asks Ye Qiyuan if that is his son, saying with disbelief that the boy seems addicted to slaughtering pigs and has just finished all their work for the week. Ye Qiyuan chuckles with pride, not surprised by his son's work. He proudly says it is to be expected because his son is a divine pig butcher. Meanwhile, Ye Chuan holds his new knife, reflecting on his progress. He feels he has gotten comfortable handling the weapon and decides it is time to leave the slaughterhouse and see what the outside world has to offer. The next day, Ye Chuan, carrying a backpack, is ready to leave. In this world, dangerous monsters are common. Humanity lives in a federation divided into 9 districts, and Qingcheng City is on the edge of the 5th district. Ye Chuan arrives at a massive stone gate with borderlands carved above it, the exit from the city into the dangerous wilds. Just as he is about to pass through, a city guard stops him. The guard warns him that with a life-type profession, he is only allowed to go 1 kilometer from the city. He stresses that if he travels farther, his life will be in danger. Ye Chuan, looking determined, simply nods. Ignoring the guard's warning, Ye Chuan ventures deep into the dark forest of the borderlands. As he walks, a rustling sound in the bushes catches his attention. Suddenly, a small green creature with a wicked grin leaps from the shadows with a small dagger, letting out a shrill battle cry as it lunges at him. Ye Chuan calmly identifies the monster as a goblin. Seeing an opportunity, Ye Chuan's eyes glow red. He decides to test his Blood Shadow Butcher skill. A system notification confirms the skill is active. The effect is instant. The goblin's aggressive look turns to pure terror, and it is paralyzed by a sudden killing aura. With the goblin frozen, Ye Chuan easily dodges and in one swift motion, swings his knife and slices the creature down. Another system notification appears. It confirms the kill of one chilled goblin pig, and just like with the other pigs, his level and bonus damage have increased. He realizes that the stronger the pig he kills, the greater the benefit. He stands in the dark forest examining his status screen when he notices something. All around him in the woods, dozens of pairs of glowing green eyes have appeared. He recalls a warning from a former teacher. If you see one goblin, it means a whole group has already marked you. Instead of showing fear, Ye Chuan looks almost happy. With his knife ready, he remarks that it looks like he is about to level up again and eagerly challenges the goblin pigs to attack. With battle cries, the goblins swarm him from all sides. What follows is not a struggle, but a display of masterful butchery. Ye Chuan moves like a whirlwind, his knife glowing as he effortlessly cuts down goblin after goblin. Soon, only one goblin is left, trembling in terror as Ye Chuan's cleaver hangs over its head. With his eyes glowing red, Ye Chuan looks down at the terrified creature with a dark smile. The last goblin turns to run, but it is too late. Having killed the entire group, Ye Chuan follows their trail and soon arrives at the entrance to a large, dark cavern. He figures this must be the goblin nest. The sounds of screams and battle soon echo from inside the cave. The scene inside is one of absolute carnage. The cave floor is covered with the corpses of dozens of slain goblins. Ye Chuan has wiped out the entire nest by himself. He stands calmly and looks at a new system notification. The screen shows his level has increased to rank 6 apprentice, his attributes have soared to 25, and his pig nemesis bonus damage is now at plus 120%. As Ye Chuan stands in the silent goblin cave, a strange noise from deeper within catches his attention. He quickly turns toward the sound, which seems to come from behind a crude wooden barricade. Without hesitation, Ye Chuan delivers a powerful kick, shattering the wooden planks. His silhouette is framed by a menacing red glow as he steps into the newly opened area. Inside, he makes a horrifying discovery. A young woman with short, blonde hair is tied up with red ropes. She has a gag in her mouth and is terrified. Surrounding her are 2 small baby-like goblins crying for milk. The captive woman's eyes are filled with tears as she looks at her potential rescuer, her thoughts a desperate plea for help. The terrified captive girl trembles, bound and gagged in the back of the goblin cave. Ye Chuan approaches her and raises his glowing pig-slaying knife. Thinking he is another threat, the girl squeezes her eyes shut, silently pleading for her life. In a flash of red light, Ye Chuan swings his blade. The blade moves in a precise arc, not to harm her, but to slice through her ropes while killing the 2 infant goblins beside her. Freed, but shocked by the violent action, the girl screams in terror. Ye Chuan crouches down and calmly tells her to stop shouting, informing her that all the goblins are now dead. The girl's terrified gaze shifts to the side, where she sees the slain baby goblins and finally understands he was saving her. Overcome with relief, she throws her arms around an uncomfortable-looking Ye Chuan. She thanks him again and again for saving her, explaining she was about to be violated by the goblins. Flustered by the hug, Ye Chuan awkwardly says that he did not come here to save her. Pulling back, the girl looks at the cavern filled with the bodies of the slain goblins. She asks if he was the one who killed all of them. Amazed by his power, she asks if he has a combat-type profession. Ignoring her questions, Ye Chuan simply turns and begins to walk out of the cave. She calls after him, asking for his name. Without looking back, he gives a simple reply, Ye Chuan. After freeing the captive, Ye Chuan points her in the direction of the city. He then turns and walks back into the dark woods to continue on his own path. However, he soon realizes he is not alone. He stops and turns to find the rescued girl timidly following him from behind a tree. Ye Chuan suddenly appears right in front of her, startling her badly. He aggressively questions her, demanding to know why she is following him and accusing her of being a goblin spy. The girl, terrified by his sudden appearance and his knife, quickly denies it, explaining she is just too scared to go back to the city by herself. Seeing her fear, Ye Chuan calms down and asks for her name and what she was doing in the borderlands. The girl introduces herself as Xia Nanan. She explains that her mother's birthday is in a few days, and she had come to the forest hoping to find a rare blood moon flower as a gift, but was captured by goblins. She then proposes a deal. If he helps her find the blood moon flower, she will help him find the best weaponsmith in Qingcheng to forge a new knife for him. Ye Chuan is not impressed by her offer. He dismisses her, asking if she knows how much it costs to hire the city's best weaponsmith. He bluntly tells her to go back and stop following him, threatening to chop her if she doesn't. Xia Nanan is left fuming at his cold rejection. She thinks about how she is a great beauty and can't understand why he is so cold to her, wondering if something is wrong with him. Refusing to give up, Xia Nanan plays her final card. She runs to catch up with Ye Chuan, demanding to know if he knows who she is, and proudly announcing that her father's name is Xia Beihai. The name makes Ye Chuan stop. He recognizes it instantly. The Xia family is one of the 4 great noble families of Qingcheng, and its head, Xia Beihai, is a powerful 9th-rank master. A devious smile spreads across Ye Chuan's face. He thinks that with her father's money, getting 10 top-tier butcher knives would be no problem at all. To prove her identity, Xiananan proudly shows him a small, fancy jade amulet. She explains it is a protective amulet from her father. She claims that because of it, even a powerful expert could not harm her, but the goblins were too smart and captured her without setting it off. She says they couldn't get near her to harm her, which is why they just locked her up. Ye Chuan leans in to look at the amulet, confirming it is a genuine product of the powerful Xia family. Now convinced, Ye Chuan's attitude changes. He tells her he believes her and agrees to the deal. He will help her find the blood moon flower, and she will help him get a top-tier knife forged. Overjoyed, Xiananan eagerly shakes his hand, exclaiming that they have a deal. She then pulls out a folded map. Unfolding it, she points to a location marked with a red X, explaining that it marks the location of the blood moon flower. However, she warns him that there is always a guardian, a dangerous blood moon great python. They stop to study the map, and Xiananan explains the danger. According to a survival guide, the python has strength similar to a 9th-rank apprentice. She doubts that she is strong enough to deal with such a creature. Ye Chuan, however, seems unconcerned. Instead, a wide, excited grin spreads across his face as he exclaims that he has never seen a giant python in his life. His strange reaction leaves Xiananan confused, and she wonders if he is listening to her. However, she reasons that since he killed a whole goblin tribe by himself, he must have a powerful combat profession. With the plan set, Ye Chuan cheerfully tells her to get going and puts her in charge of leading the way. Xiananan can only look at him with a confused expression. For some reason, she feels that this strange young man is both reliable and completely unreliable at the same time. As they venture deeper into the wilderness, they move quietly through some tall reeds. Xiananan suddenly stops and warns Ye Chuan to be quiet. She points out a massive creature resting ahead, identifying it as a silver-horned rhinoceros and stressing that they must not provoke it. She explains that once the rhinoceros gets angry, its strength becomes like an 8th-rank apprentice, making it a very strong enemy. She advises that they just need to quietly go around it. However, Ye Chuan has other ideas. To Xiananan's alarm, he raises his pig-slaying knife threateningly over her head as she crouches. She nervously asks him what he is doing. With a look of determination, Ye Chuan declares with strange logic that if the creature eats grass today, it will dare to eat people tomorrow, so it cannot be left alive. Xiananan is left completely speechless, unable to understand his weird reasoning. Before she can protest, Ye Chuan leaps into action. He charges the resting rhinoceros, somersaulting through the air. In a blur, he brings his glowing knife down in a powerful, cross-shaped slash, hitting the rhinoceros before it can react. The powerful beast collapses, killed instantly. Blood sprays from the wound on the creature's neck as Xiananan watches, completely stunned. She can only stare in disbelief, her face a mask of shock as she struggles to process that he killed such a powerful creature in a single, easy strike. Immediately after the kill, a system prompt appears in Ye Chuan's vision, confirming his level has increased to 7th-rank apprentice. His Pig Clan Nemesis bonus damage has now increased to 122%. Looking at his simple cleaver, which now shows wear, Ye Chuan wonders how much longer the blade will hold up against such powerful foes. Still shocked by the display of power, Xiananan grabs onto Ye Chuan's arm and demands to know what his profession is. He calmly replies that he has a life-type profession, a pig butcher. Xiananan is baffled, exclaiming that it is impossible for a simple life-type profession to kill a silver-horned rhinoceros in one hit. Ignoring her, Ye Chuan kneels beside the dead beast and carves off its valuable silver horn, commenting that it is good stuff. He offers a simple explanation, suggesting that the rhino was probably just too old, which is why it died so quickly. Though still flustered, Xiananan seems to accept his explanation and tells him they are very close to the location of the blood moon flower. The two then continue their journey. The scene shifts to another part of the forest, where the principal from Qingcheng Academy is walking with his students, including Xu Lingshuan, Liu Jinglong, and 2 others. The principal is telling the students that they have all performed well during their field training. He looks at Xu Lingshuan and a smirking Liu Jinglong, adding that they are the students he thinks most highly of. Suddenly, the principal senses something. He stops abruptly, telling the group there is movement nearby. He shouts into the forest, demanding for whoever is there to come out. As he does, he and his students see the silhouettes of 2 people, Ye Chuan and Xiananan standing in the woods ahead. Ye Chuan and Xiananan step into a clearing, coming face to face with the group from Qingcheng Academy. Ye Chuan is surprised, wondering why they are here. The reunion is not friendly. Liu Jinglong is the first to react, pointing at Ye Chuan with a look of glee. He demands to know what he is doing in the borderlands. Ye Chuan, with a casual expression, scratches his head and replies that he is just passing by. This enrages Liu Jinglong. The heavy-set female student from the academy group sneers, saying she does not believe he is just passing by. She accuses him of being unable to get over Xu Lingxuan and claims he must have followed them into the forest. Ye Chuan's eyes widen slightly and his gaze falls on Xu Lingxuan. From his perspective, she is once again a pig-faced girl, looking at him with a cold expression. She addresses him by name, her tone sharp, reminding him that she thought she had made herself clear. She repeats that they are from two different worlds now and demands that he stop pestering her. A dark red aura begins to come from Ye Chuan as he clenches his fist in anger. Seeing this as a chance for revenge, Liu Jinglong's face twists into a crazed grin. He shouts at Ye Chuan, questioning how he still dares to show his face. He declares that this is great, as he was just worried he would not be able to find him to settle their score. In response, Liu Jinglong unleashes his power. He is surrounded by a purple aura, and in his hand, he now wields a glowing katana-like sword. Liu Jinglong's friend exclaims in awe, noting the sword's impressive shine and guessing it must be a yellow-rank, low-grade spirit weapon. The principal observes with interest, his belief in Liu Jinglong's potential growing. He marvels that in just a few days, Liu Jinglong has already become a fourth-rank apprentice and has gotten such a powerful weapon. He confirms his belief that the boy is a genius, confident that he could fight evenly with a sixth-rank apprentice. Seeing the fight about to start, Xu Lingxuan steps forward. She reminds Ye Chuan that she had warned him to leave Qingcheng and says that this time she will not help him. Standing beside Ye Chuan, a blushing and concerned Xiananan asks if he has a grudge with these people. Ignoring the threat, Ye Chuan seems more interested in the weapon. He turns to Xiananan and calmly asks how much a yellow-rank, low-grade spirit weapon is worth. Surprised by his odd question, she stammers that it could probably sell for several 100,000, and then questions if he understands the seriousness of the situation. Meanwhile, Liu Jinglong glares at Ye Chuan, his mind filled with the memory of his past humiliation. He remembers how Ye Chuan stole the show at the awakening ceremony and becomes determined to steal the spotlight back. With a furious roar, he leaps into the air, bringing his glowing sword down in a powerful strike aimed at Ye Chuan. As the blade comes down, Liu Jinglong is sure this attack will show Xu Lingxuan his true strength. But instead of dodging, Ye Chuan raises his simple butcher's knife to block. The principal, Xu Lingxuan, and the other students watch in shock, certain it is a suicidal move. Liu Jinglong puts all his strength behind the blow, but to his surprise, Ye Chuan's ordinary knife stops the powerful spirit weapon. Sparks fly, but the force is too great for the simple blade, which shatters. Seeing the broken knife, Liu Jinglong assumes he has won and taunts Ye Chuan, vowing to make it so he can never butcher a pig again. The principal looks on with a dark expression, thinking to himself that an ordinary blade is as fragile as paper in front of a spirit weapon. However, the fight takes an unexpected turn. Ye Chuan looks at the broken handle in his hand and then casually tosses it aside. He faces the stunned Liu Jinglong and calmly declares that he does not need a knife to deal with him. Seeing Ye Chuan's confidence, Liu Jinglong's anger boils over. He warns Ye Chuan not to blame him for being rude, and with a final cry for him to die, brings his powerful spirit weapon down with all his might. However, Ye Chuan is far from defenseless. His eye flashes with power as he meets the attack not with a weapon, but with his bare fist. He moves in a blur, sidestepping the blade and landing a single devastating punch to Liu Jinglong's stomach. The force of the blow is incredible, sending Liu Jinglong flying backward as if hit by a cannonball. He crashes to the ground, defeated. His friend and the principal can only stare in absolute shock, the friend crying out his name. He rushes to Liu Jinglong's side, asking if he is all right. The defeated student is bruised and battered, crying out in pain. Through his teeth, Liu Jinglong insists that he is all right, but he is on the verge of passing out. The principal's attention, however, is now fixed only on the victor. He stares at Ye Chuan with a dark and intense expression, his mind racing. He slowly approaches the scene, his gaze never leaving Ye Chuan. A shocking realization hits him, and he wonders if it is possible that Ye Chuan has already reached the level of a 7th-rank apprentice. With Liu Jinglong defeated, Ye Chuan picks up the spirit weapon his opponent dropped. He inspects the blade, thinking that the sword looks quite good. Meanwhile, Liu Jinglong's friend expresses his shock to the principal, questioning if that kid could really have reached the 7th rank, especially when the talented Xu Lingxuan is only at the 6th rank. The principal, with a thoughtful expression, confirms that it is possible. He begins to explain the differences between how combat type and life type professions level up. He says that combat type professions need constant training, battle experience, and injuries to grow, so their early growth is slow. However, once they master the basics, their growth speed increases a lot. On the other hand, life type professions have an easier path. Professions like alchemists or weaponsmiths don't need to fight, they just need to practice their craft. Using Ye Chuan as an example, he explains that as a pig butcher, he just needs to keep slaughtering pigs to quickly increase his level in the early stages. A flashback shows Ye Chuan easily butchering a pig, highlighting this simple path to power. Xu Lingxuan, after listening, understands now that Ye Chuan won because of the high base stats he gained from his higher level, not because of better skill. She questions if this way of leveling is unfair to combat-type professions. The principal clarifies that there is a balance. He explains that for Ye Chuan to level up, the number of pigs he needs to kill will double with each rank. By the time he reaches a high level, the number required will be huge. In contrast, combat-type professions who have mastered their skills early will find their growth speeding up, eventually passing the life-type professions. Liu Jinglong's friend asks if this means that while Ye Chuan can beat Liu Jinglong now, in a few years, the combat-type professions will easily overpower him. The principal grunts in agreement, though he looks a bit troubled. Having heard the conversation, Ye Chuan thinks to himself and seems to understand their point. He turns to the principal and says that if there is nothing else, he will be leaving, waving a casual goodbye as he prepares to continue his journey. As Ye Chuan prepares to leave, Xu Lingxuan steps forward and confronts him with a look of pity. She asks him why he is bothering with all of this, questioning if his recent efforts in slaughtering pigs were all just for her. To show off, she then reveals that she has been accepted into the prestigious Tianqiong Academy, cementing the fact that they are now from 2 different worlds. Ye Chuan can only stare at her with a blank expression. At this point, Xiannanan has had enough. She declares that she cannot watch this any longer. Stepping between Xu Lingxuan and Ye Chuan, she angrily demands to know if they are ever going to stop. She clarifies that Ye Chuan is with her to help her find the Blood Moon flower, and their meeting was a complete coincidence. With her hands on her hips, she furiously asks them what they are imagining in their heads. The heavy-set female student from the academy group retorts, mocking Xiannanan for treasuring a scumbag that Xu Lingxuan has thrown away. Liu Jinglong's friend adds his own insults, claiming that Ye Chuan is an expert at seducing women. He remarks on how quickly he has found a new girl, calling them a perfect match. Fed up with their taunting, Xiannanan's patience snaps. She throws a powerful punch that unleashes a wave of energy, hitting not just the 2 students who insulted her, but the entire academy group, including Xu Lingxuan and the principal. The principal, caught off guard, is left with a red handprint on his cheek, wondering why she hit him too. Xiannanan stands beside a stoic Ye Chuan, her fists clenched in anger. Xu Lingxuan, holding her own reddened cheek, looks at her in disbelief, furiously questioning how she dared to hit her. Her anger flares, and her body is enveloped in the icy blue aura of her Snow Soul Sword immortal power. She draws her sword, and with a look of pure rage, asks Xiannanan if she is looking to die. As Xu Lingxuan prepares to attack, Xiannanan remains defiant. She holds up her family's protective amulet, a clear symbol of her powerful background, and dares anyone to try and touch her. The sight of the amulet immediately stops everyone. The principal, in particular, breaks into a nervous sweat, recognizing the token and the power it represents. He instantly steps in, grabbing Xu Lingxuan's arm and shouting for her to stop. He explains that he now recognizes the girl as the young miss of the powerful Xia family. His entire attitude shifts from commanding to friendly. He turns to Xiannanan with an apologetic expression and asks what she is doing there. Xiannanan is not in the mood for small talk. She dismisses his question, stating that she can go wherever she wants. She then turns the tables on him, criticizing him for the poor quality and manners of his students. The principal can only bow his head in apology, agreeing that it was his mistake and promising to discipline them thoroughly when they return. But Xiannanan is not finished. She points an accusatory finger at Xu Lingxuan and demands that the principal make her apologize to Ye Chuan. This leaves Xu Lingxuan stunned, her mind reeling with the realization that this girl is the daughter of the great Xia Beihai, and she cannot understand why such a high-status person would be with Ye Chuan. The principal, desperate to not offend the Xia family, sternly orders Xu Lingxuan to apologize immediately. Cornered and humiliated, Xu Lingxuan offers a reluctant, quiet apology to Ye Chuan, her eyes downcast. Internally, however, her face is a mask of pure fury. She silently vows that the Shi family will pay for this insult. Having had enough of the drama, Ye Chuan tells Xiananan that they should go. As they turn to leave, the defeated Liu Jinglong, still on the ground, cries out for them to stop. He demands that Ye Chuan return his spirit weapon. Ye Chuan, with the stolen sword on his back, looks over his shoulder with a smirk. He taunts Liu Jinglong, challenging him to come and take it back himself if he can, stating that he is ready for a fight anytime. Xiananan blows a playful raspberry at the defeated rival. Liu Jinglong can only clutch his chest, seething with anger. As Ye Chuan walks away, Liu Jinglong screams a final furious threat, telling him to just wait. Having left the academy group behind, Ye Chuan and Xiananan continue their quest. They venture through a rocky landscape. Xiananan consults her map again, and looking up at a nearby cliff with a glowing red cave, she confirms that this is the place and advises Ye Chuan to be careful. As they prepare, Ye Chuan receives a system notification. It informs him that he has now selected the spirit weapon as his exclusive pig-slaying knife, and that its god-slaying edge effect is active. Thanks to the better quality of the new weapon, he will now receive 0.2 free attribute points for every pig killed, double the previous amount. Looking at his new sword, he realizes the importance of choosing a good knife. Suddenly, Xiananan pulls two small colored spheres from her cleavage, much to Ye Chuan's surprise. He asks her what the items are. She explains that they are called Yin Thunder Fire Beads, powerful explosives that could severely injure even a strong expert. She plans to use them as a last resort if the Blood Moon Great Python is too powerful. Ye Chuan, with a brave look, tells her she is ruthless and announces that he will go up to scout ahead. He expertly climbs the cliff face, using his new sword to help him. He reaches a ledge covered in beautiful glowing red flowers. To his surprise, Xiananan is already there, having found an easier path. She exclaims with delight that the flowers are real and that they are the extremely rare blood crystal twin flowers. Just as she celebrates, a sense of dread fills the air. A monstrous, shadowy head with glowing red eyes emerges from the darkness of the cave behind them, its gaze fixed on the flower Ye Chuan is holding. Ye Chuan is stunned by the sudden appearance of the massive creature. The beast is revealed to be the Blood Moon Great Python, and from Ye Chuan's unique perspective, its snake head has the features of a pig's snout. The monstrous pig snake looms over him, and Ye Chuan, completely unfazed, casually asks it what it is looking at and if it has never seen a flower before. Ye Chuan continues to taunt the monstrous pig snake, asking if it has never seen someone picking flowers before. The massive creature seems confused by his bold attitude for a moment. Seizing the opportunity, Ye Chuan grabs the flower and runs, leaping away from the beast's perch. From the opposite cliff, Xiananan sees him fleeing and yells at him to act quickly. Seeing the massive python about to strike, she warns him to be careful and throws one of her Yin Thunder Fire Beads with all her might. The bead flies through the air and explodes in a massive, fiery blast right in the python's face, throwing Ye Chuan to the ground. Xiananan rushes to his side, anxiously asking if he is all right. From the cliff edge, they both watch the aftermath of the explosion. The massive head of the Blood Moon Great Python has been completely blown off by the force of the bead, much to their surprise. Ye Chuan wonders aloud if the bead really had that much power. However, the fight is not over. The python's massive, headless body rears back and strikes with its tail, whipping it through the air with incredible speed and force. But with its head gone, the attack is wild and misses them completely. With the immediate danger over, Ye Chuan casually holds out the blood crystal twin flower and tells Xiananan to take it. Her face lights up with pure joy as she accepts the precious glowing flower. After the excitement, Ye Chuan asks her what the flower is used for. Xiananan explains that the blood crystal twin flower is a mutated version of the snow moon flower. While the regular flower can only slow aging, the blood crystal twin flower can grant eternal youth. She says there is no woman in the world who would not want such a treasure. Ye Chuan listens intently and, with a new sense of purpose, kneels down and grabs his sword. He realizes that if the flower has such an effect, his own mother would surely love it too. As Ye Chuan leaps away to another cliffside, Xiananan watches with a hopeful expression. She believes he is getting the second blood crystal twin flower as a gift for her, thinking to herself that he has finally taken the hint. However, instead of giving it to her, Yechuan carefully places the flower into his backpack. Their moment of success is shattered by a deafening roar. They turn to see a horrifying sight. The blood moon, great python, has not been defeated, and its severed head is rapidly regenerating before their eyes. Xiananan is completely shocked, realizing the beast survived the powerful Thunderfire bead. She figures its power must be immense, at the peak of a 9th-rank apprentice. Facing the regenerated monster, Yechuan turns to Xiananan and asks if she has any more of the explosive beads. She shouts back in a panic, explaining that her father only gave her a single pair. The fully regenerated python now looms over Yechuan, its red eyes burning with rage. Unfazed, Yechuan decides to use his special skill, activating his Blood Shadow Butcher ability. The fear-inducing aura projects his image into the python's eyes, causing the massive beast to freeze in terror for a moment. The python recoils from the mental attack and smashes its powerful tail down where they were standing. Thinking fast, Yechuan grabs Xiananan and leaps to safety on another ledge. He then scolds her, demanding to know why she was just standing there and not running. Xiananan, blushing, explains that she was waiting for him, believing he had risked his life to get the second flower for her. Yechuan turns to her with a deadpan expression and bluntly clarifies that the flower is a gift for his mother. The revelation shatters her romantic assumption, and her face contorts in frustration. Having recovered from the mental attack, the Blood Moon Great Python turns its glowing red eye back on its prey. With a terrifying roar, it lunges forward, its massive jaws wide open. Yechuan grabs Xiananan's hand and tries to run, but he realizes it is too late. He internally curses, finding it a hassle to be burdened with another person in such a dangerous situation. In a split-second decision, he shoves Xiananan out of the way, sending her to safety as he is swallowed whole by the massive beast. The python slams its jaws shut with a deafening crash. Xiananan scrambles to her feet, screaming Yechuan's name in horror. She stands paralyzed with fear as the massive python looms over her. She cries out for Yechuan, begging for him to come out. The python moves to attack her next, its jaws opening to swallow her as well. But just as it is about to strike, something happens inside the beast. A brilliant, glowing red light shines from within the python's throat as a blade slices through from the inside. The monster recoils in agony, its body writhing as it is torn apart from within. In a gory explosion, the python's body is ripped open, and Yechuan emerges, covered in the creature's blood, having literally butchered his way out. He stands amidst the bloody remains and casually asks Xiananan if she was just calling for him. Overcome with relief, she rushes forward and throws her arms around him in a tight hug, exclaiming how glad she is that he is all right. She bluntly remarks that he stinks and that he was almost pooped out by the python. This causes her to recoil, covering her nose in disgust. A system notification then appears, confirming the kill of the special pig. His level has increased by a massive 80%, raising him to the 8th rank. His pig nemesis bonus damage has increased by another 1%, and he has gained another 0.2 free attribute points. With their quest completed, Yechuan tells Xiananan that it is time for them to go back. They make their way back to Qingcheng, arriving at the city gates where a group of people is waiting anxiously. An older man dressed in traditional robes rushes forward, looking relieved to see Xiananan. He scolds her for her late return, explaining that he was worried sick. Xiananan, however, is beaming with joy. She holds up the glowing blood crystal twin flower and exclaims that they found it and that her mother will surely be delighted. The man, a family steward, begins to scold her for her recklessness, reminding her how dangerous the world outside the city is. Xiananan cuts him off, insisting she wanted to pick the flower for her mother personally, and reassures him that with Yechuan protecting her, there were no problems. The steward's gaze then shifts to the young man beside her, and he asks who this boy is. Yechuan bluntly introduces himself as a pig butcher. The steward is taken aback, confused. He cannot understand why the young miss of the Xia family would choose a fool with a simple life-type profession to protect her in the perilous lands. However, looking at Yechuan's calm demeanor, he wonders if this unassuming boy could have actually killed the beast. Putting his doubts aside, the steward praises classmate Ye for his youthful promise. He then takes off a golden ring and offers it to Yechuan. He explains that the Xia family gold ring is worth 200,000 and that it is a reward for his service. Yechuan, however, simply refuses the offer. He pushes the man's hand away and states that he does not want the ring. He only wants a pig-slaying knife, holding him to the original deal. Ye Chuan firmly refuses the steward's offer, repeating that all he wants is a pig-slaying knife. The steward is baffled, wondering to himself if the boy has something wrong with his head for turning down such a valuable item for a simple tool. Xiaonanan steps in to clarify. She explains to the steward, whom she calls Uncle Zhao, that Ye Chuan wants to find the most skilled weaponsmith in Qingcheng to forge a spirit weapon for him, as this was their deal. Understanding, the steward agrees to handle it. He urges Xiaonanan to return home with her bodyguards, as her father has been worried. As she is led away, Xiaonanan waves to Ye Chuan, promising to see him again. Once she is gone, the steward turns to Ye Chuan with a serious expression. He states that while the family is grateful, he warns Ye Chuan not to have any improper thoughts towards the young miss. Ye Chuan's internal thoughts reveal he has no romantic interest. As he sees Jiananan as just another pighead, he assures the steward there is no problem and that he only wants a top-tier spirit weapon. Satisfied, the steward informs Ye Chuan that the best weaponsmith in Qingcheng, Master Tixin, has a good relationship with their family. He tells Ye Chuan to find the master the next day after he has made the arrangements. With that, the steward leaves. The scene shifts back to the forest clearing where the great python was slain. The massive corpse is now being eaten by other wild beasts. A new, mysterious figure arrives, a beautiful, demonic woman with horns and glowing yellow eyes. She looks upon the scene with fury, declaring that humans have killed her pet beast and stolen her treasure. Her forked tongue flicks out as she vows that she has memorized their scent, plotting her revenge. The story returns to the city, where Ye Chuan is seen walking down a street with the stolen spirit weapon on his back. He arrives at a shop that buys and sells beast materials at high prices. Inside, he tells the female shopkeeper he wants to sell some beast materials and places the silver-horned rhinoceros horn on the counter. The shopkeeper is surprised that someone of his build could capture a silver-horned rhinoceros and offers him 10,000 for the horn. Ye Chuan is stunned by the amount. He quickly calculates that his father only earns 100 for slaughtering one pig, meaning this horn is worth the pay for killing 100 pigs. As this sinks in, his eye catches something on display. He points to a gleaming item in a glass case and asks if 10,000 is enough to buy it. The shopkeeper smiles, commenting on his good eye. She explains the item is a golden scale soft armor forged from the scales of a fire serpent. She praises its defensive power and ability to keep the wearer warm. However, she regretfully informs him that it costs 150,000. Ye Chuan is shocked again, exclaiming that his father would have to slaughter 1,500 pigs to earn that much, which confuses the shopkeeper. Thinking quickly, Ye Chuan asks if he could trade for it. He places the spirit weapon he took from Liu Jinglong on the counter, startling the shopkeeper, who recognizes it as a yellow-rank spirit weapon. She enthusiastically agrees to the trade, stating it is more than enough. She quickly fits him with the new armor, remarking that it seems custom-made for him. Internally, the shopkeeper is intrigued. She reasons that for a young man to have so many valuable items, he must have a high-level combat profession. She decides that if she can seduce this fool, she might not have to worry for the rest of her life. Putting her plan into action, she gets very close to him, adjusting the armor. She tells him there is usually a 10,000 handling fee for the exchange, but since he is so handsome, she will waive it. From Ye Chuan's perspective, the woman has transformed into a blushing, seductive pig person. She leans in close and asks him his profession. Completely oblivious, he bluntly replies that he is a pig butcher. The shopkeeper is left speechless, stammering, "A pig? Butcher?" The story returns to the Ye family home. Ye Chuan presents the glowing blood crystal twin flower to his mother. She is stunned, recognizing the rare item and questioning how he got it. Her shock turns to suspicion. She sternly confronts her son, accusing him of stealing the flower. Ye Chuan denies it, making up a story about seeing two giant snakes fighting and finding the flower on the ground. His mother is not amused. She pinches his cheek, scolding him for being a stinky kid and for going to such a dangerous place. She reminds him of the risks, questioning how a simple family of pig butchers could handle trouble in the wilds. She forbids him from ever going again. Ye Chuan meekly agrees, promising not to be so reckless in the future. From the doorway, his father, Ye Qiyuan, overhears and erupts in proud laughter. The moment is shattered when an aggressive voice shouts from outside, demanding that Ye Qiyuan come out. Ye Qiyuan opens the door to find two intimidating men. The leader, a man with spiky red hair, confronts him, accusing his son of stealing his own son's spirit weapon. Ye Qiyuan is taken aback, recognizing the man as Lu Xing. He tries to calm the situation, nervously addressing the man as Brother Lu, and suggesting there must be a mistake. Ye Qiwan's internal thoughts reveal that Liu Xing was a childhood playmate who is now a well-known 6th-rank transcendent. Because of their different social statuses, they had grown apart. He continues to plead, explaining that his son is just a simple pig butcher and couldn't possibly steal a spirit weapon. His defense is cut short when Liu Jinglong steps out from behind his father and points at Ye Chuan, who has just entered the room, shouting that he is the one who took his weapon. Liu Xing confronts his old acquaintance mockingly, asking why he can't even educate his own son properly. He states that he has already confirmed the story with Principal Zhao Ming and only came after being certain of the facts. He then demands that Ye Qiyuan ask his son directly if the accusation is true. Visibly distressed, Ye Qiwan turns to Ye Chuan, who looks away with a stressed expression. With sweat on his brow, he asks his son what really happened. Ye Chuan does not shy away from the truth. He looks directly at Liu Xing and explains that his son tried to kill him. He says he only took the sword in retaliation and that Liu Jinglong got off easy. Liu Jinglong furiously denies this, shouting that he only wanted to spar. Ignoring his son's outburst, Liu Xing offers a solution. He tells Ye Chuan that out of respect for his father, he is willing to drop the matter if he simply returns the sword. However, Ye Chuan bluntly replies that the sword has already been sold. The revelation sends a shockwave through the room. Liu Xing, Liu Jinglong, and even Ye Qiwan are left utterly stunned and speechless. The news that the sword has been sold leaves Liu Xing, Liu Jinglong, and Ye Qiyuan completely stunned. Recovering from the shock, Liu Xing's face becomes angry. He tells Ye Chuan that since the sword is gone, he will have to pay for it, demanding a huge sum of 1 million. Ye Qiyuan tries to reason with him, pointing out that 1 million is too much and that a spirit weapon of that quality is only worth about 200,000. Liu Xing is not interested in talking. He unleashes a scary purple aura to intimidate them, making it clear he is not asking, he is telling them. Terrified, Ye Chuan quickly agrees to pay the debt, but explains they will need time to gather that much money. Liu Xing gives them half a month to get the funds. He warns his old friend that if they fail, he will teach the boy a lesson himself and will not show any mercy. As they leave, Liu Jinglong gives a smug grin. Back inside their home, Ye Chuan's parents are in despair. His mother asks Ye Qiwan what they are going to do, and suggests he try begging his childhood friend for mercy. Ye Qiwan looks defeated, saying he will try taking some pork over as an apology, but he is overwhelmed by the thought of raising 1 million. Seeing his parents so worried, Ye Chuan steps forward and confidently tells them not to worry, assuring them that he will handle it. His father, Ye Qiyuan, looks at him with concern, not anger. He reassures his son that he does not blame him for what happened. He only asks that in the future, if Ye Chuan gets into trouble, he tells his parents instead of trying to handle it all by himself. Moved by his father's words, Ye Chuan decides he must get his new spirit weapon made as quickly as possible. He believes that once he is stronger, Liu Xing will no longer be a threat. However, just as the immediate problem seems to be handled, his mother looks at him with suspicion. She asks him if he is hiding something. She points out how precious the blood crystal twin flower is, and questions how a simple pig butcher like him could have gotten such a rare treasure, showing she is worried about her son's secrets. Deciding he can no longer hide the truth, Ye Chuan makes a difficult confession. He tells them that he is not normal, leaving both his parents looking shocked and concerned. His mother, completely misunderstanding, jumps to a surprising conclusion. With wide, worried eyes, she asks her son if his secret is that he does not like women. The suggestion leaves Ye Chuan with an annoyed, deadpan expression. Trying to be a supportive parent, his mother gently pats his cheek and tells him she is very open-minded. She says it is fine if he likes men and encourages him to pursue his own happiness, while his father nervously agrees in the background. His father then adds the confusing advice that it's fine as long as he stays away from him, leaving Ye Chuan completely baffled. Frustrated, Ye Chuan clarifies that he does not like men or women. He finally explains the real truth. He has a mental illness that causes him to see every living creature as a pig. The scene immediately shifts to his perspective, confirming his words as his parents now appear as two shocked-looking pig people. A sudden, earth-shattering realization hits Ye Qiwan. He grabs his son by the shoulders, his mind racing. He excitedly points out that since Ye Chuan is a pig butcher and sees every living creature as a pig, it must mean that he can slaughter any living thing as if it were just a pig. Still held by his father, Ye Chuan gives a simple, confirming nod. His mother, now understanding the incredible meaning of this, turns to her husband. She asks if this means that their son's profession is, in reality, a combat type. With absolute certainty and a new sense of pride, Ye Qiwan confirms that it is. With the truth revealed, Ye Qiwan's entire attitude changes. He tells his son, Ye Chuan, to come with him, deciding it is time to teach him some of his real skills. Under the dark, moonlit sky, he leads Ye Chuan up a long mountain path. He explains that after many years of slaughtering pigs, he created his own unique pig-slaying knife technique. He plans to pass this skill on to his son so that he will have a way to protect himself if his life is ever in danger. Ye Chuan is confused. He reminds his father that he has already caused the family to fall into a debt of 1 million and questions why his father would still want to teach him anything. Ye Chuan turns to his son with a serious expression, stating that while 1 million is a lot of money, it is far less important than his son's safety. His lesson begins with a simple idea. The greatest principles are simple, and the same applies to slaughtering pigs. Holding his cleaver with an expert grip, he tells Ye Chuan to watch carefully, as he will only teach him 3 moves. As they stand on the mountain peak, the air fills with a powerful purple energy that appears as ghostly blades in the sky. Ye Chuan is surrounded by this same powerful aura as he raises his cleaver high above his head with both hands. With a tremendous battle cry, he unleashes a devastating downward slash. The force of the single strike is so great that it appears to rip a tear in the landscape, revealing a stunning view of a full moon and a starry cosmos within the void. Ye Chuan can only stare up from below, his face a mask of utter shock. He is completely stunned by the incredible power that his father, a man he thought was just a simple pig butcher, has just shown. After the attack, Ye Chuan calmly turns to his dumbfounded son and names the technique he just witnessed. He calls it the first knife, Yin Star. Without pausing, Ye Chuan announces the second knife. He launches himself into the air, his cleaver glowing with a cyan energy. He spins in a fluid, powerful motion, unleashing a massive, horizontal wave of energy that slices through the air. This attack is so powerful, it appears to cut the moon and the cosmic void in half. Still completely stunned, Ye Chuan cries out to his father, demanding to know how he is performing such impossible feats. Landing gracefully, Ye Chuan explains that it is simply an illusion. The attack distorts the space around them, which in turn refracts the light and tricks the eye. With a confident smirk, he prepares to show his son the third and final move. Instead of using his knife, he channels a terrifying red energy into his fist. He unleashes a devastating downward punch, crying out the name of the final technique, Devouring Sun. The impact creates a massive, blinding explosion of golden light that radiates outward. The intense light forces Ye Chuan to shield his eyes. Overwhelmed, he asks his father if these techniques are truly meant for slaughtering pigs, questioning what kind of pig would require such power to kill. His father simply tells him not to ask too many questions, assuring him that he will eventually find a use for what he is learning. With a renewed sense of purpose, Ye Chuan promises to study hard. Ye Chuan then asks Ye Chuan where his pig-slaying knife is. When Ye Chuan explains that it was broken in his fight with Liu Jinglong, his father hands over his own cleaver, telling him to use it for now. Ye Chuan takes the weapon, but is immediately shocked by its incredible weight, struggling just to hold it upright. As his father turns to leave, Ye Chuan is left wondering how his father has been slaughtering pigs with such a heavy tool his entire life. Left alone on the mountaintop, Ye Chuan begins his training. With great effort, he lifts the heavy cleaver and attempts to perform the first move, Yin Star. However, the weight of the weapon is too much for him, and he loses his balance, tumbling to the ground. From a distance, his father watches him practice. Ye Chuan's inner thoughts reveal the true hidden potential of his skills. He thinks to himself that one day, when his silly son reaches the legendary Feng Huang realm, these 3 simple knife moves will be powerful enough to slay even gods and immortals. Ye Chuan spends the entire night training hard on the mountaintop. He pours all his energy into mastering the heavy cleaver, swinging it again and again with determined shouts, pushing his body to exhaustion until sweat covers his face. As the sun rises, he finally collapses onto the grass, completely spent. After a moment, he forces himself to sit up, still panting and holding the heavy weapon, his body aching. His determination is fueled by the memory of his father's worried expression and Lu Xing's threats, pushing him to continue. With a final, desperate roar, he puts all his remaining strength into one last attempt, crying out the name of the technique, Yin Star. This time, he succeeds. He unleashes a powerful wave of energy that tears through the ground, shattering rocks and sending a shockwave so strong it startles a flock of birds on a distant mountain. He stands panting heavily, surrounded by a faint blue aura, exhausted but successful. A small, triumphant smile spreads across his face as he looks at the result. A massive, deep scar has been carved into the mountaintop. A blue system notification appears, confirming his incredible progress. Through his night of training, he has advanced to the level of a 9th-rank apprentice. His core attributes, strength, agility, and spirit, have all soared to 55. His Blood Shadow Butcher skill has reached level 2, and most importantly, he has successfully learned his father's powerful new skill, Yin Star. The story shifts to a hospital room, where medical equipment beeps. Ye Chuan is lying unconscious in a bed, completely drained after his intense training session. In a nearby office, his mother sits with a female doctor, her face filled with worry as she asks if her son is all right. The doctor, the same psychiatrist from the beginning, reassures her. She explains that Ye Chuan is fine and has only fainted from exhaustion after a night of extremely hard physical activity. Upon hearing this, his mother's expression darkens with fury. She internally blames her husband, Ye Chuan, for pushing their child so hard and vows to make him pay. The doctor continues her analysis, consulting her notes. She explains that based on the lactic acid in his body, it appears he did 1,000 sit-ups, 1,000 push-ups, and 1,000 squats in a single night. To top it off, she adds that he also seems to have run a full 100 kilometers. Ye Chuan's mother is in disbelief, asking the doctor if she is joking and how it is possible for any human to do so much in one night. The doctor calmly replies that while a normal person could never do it, given Ye Chuan's mental state, she finds it believable. This explanation only fuels his mother's rage. She leaps to her feet, calling her husband a bastard and furiously declaring that she is going home to beat him so badly he won't recognize his own mother. She storms out of the office, slamming the door. Left alone, the doctor reflects on Ye Chuan's incredible physical stamina, realizing the amount of exercise would have killed an ordinary person. A seductive smile plays on her lips as she decides she will have to give him some one-on-one counseling that night. However, when she returns to Ye Chuan's hospital room, she is shocked to find the bed empty. She stands in the doorway, baffled, wondering where her patient has gone. Having escaped from the hospital, Ye Chuan walks down the street alone. He reflects on his training, realizing the powerful Yin Star technique drains so much stamina that he should only use it as a last resort. A sudden thought then strikes him. Today is the day he can finally go to Master Tai Shin to get his new knife forged. He makes his way through the city and soon arrives at a large, traditional-looking building with a sign that reads, Tai Shin Forging. He stands at the entrance, ready to meet the master weaponsmith. Inside the forge, a large, muscular man with a wild beard is hard at work. From Ye Chuan's perspective, the master is a massive, wild boar who grunts in acknowledgement of his arrival. Master Tai Shin confirms the boy's identity, and Ye Chuan simply nods. The master explains that the Xia family's steward has already spoken to him, and that he worked through the night to forge the knife Ye Chuan requested. Leaning in, he looks at Ye Chuan with skepticism, mentioning he heard the boy was just a simple pig butcher. He finds it strange that the powerful Xia family would pay so much money and rush him to forge a weapon for a mere butcher. He correctly guesses that the only logical reason would be if Ye Chuan had saved the young miss of the family. As he speaks, he opens a fancy wooden box, revealing a beautifully crafted dark-bladed knife. As Ye Chuan reaches out to take his new weapon, Master Tai Shin stops him, telling him not to be so hasty. The master, now appearing as a fierce, red-eyed boar in Ye Chuan's vision, explains the blade's exceptional quality. He says it was forged from a piece of 1,000-year-old cold iron, making it a high-grade, yellow-rank weapon. He then gives a final warning. A powerful knife chooses its owner. If Ye Chuan's own strength is not enough, he might not even be able to lift it. Ignoring the master's warning, Ye Chuan reaches into the box with a calm, determined expression. He grips the handle of the new knife and, with his eye flashing with focus, lifts the powerful spirit weapon with surprising ease. He internally notes that the new weapon is significantly lighter than the incredibly heavy cleaver his father uses. Master Tai Shin, appearing as a shocked, sweating boar in Ye Chuan's vision, can only stare in disbelief, wondering how the boy could lift such a heavy blade so effortlessly. Holding the sparkling new weapon, Ye Chuan asks what it is called. The flustered master stammers that it has not been named yet, and since it belongs to Ye Chuan, he should be the one to name it. Impressed by the Xia family's wealth, Ye Chuan thinks for a moment and then makes his decision. With a serious expression, he proudly names his new weapon the dragon-slaying knife. The grand name is so over the top that Master Tai Shin is literally shocked, spitting out his drink in surprise. The master can only look on with a weary expression, thinking to himself that the name is incredibly tacky. With his new weapon in hand, Ye Chuan's mind turns to his next goal. He decides it is time to head back out of the city to hunt some monsters and earn some money to pay off his family's debt. He tucks the new knife into his belt, knowing that the most important thing is to raise his own rank. He believes that if he can reach the next level of power, he will have a chance to deal with Liu Xing once and for all. As he walks through the city streets, he overhears a conversation between two injured men. One complains to his friend that for some reason, the area has recently become infested with many different aggressive races and beasts that seem to be attacking people on sight like they have gone crazy. His companion agrees, adding his own terrifying experience of being chased for 10 miles by an armored bull, a creature that is usually peaceful. Instead of being alarmed, Ye Chuan's eye begins to glow with a menacing purple light. A wicked, excited grin spreads across his face. He thinks to himself that this is great news. Now he will have plenty of things to kill. Following the rumors of increased monster activity, Ye Chuan goes back into the dangerous forests of the borderlands. He suddenly stops, his senses on high alert. A system note indicates that his high spirit attribute has enhanced his perception, allowing him to sense danger. He calmly turns his head to the side just as a dagger comes flying at him from behind, aimed at his back. The attack is swift, but Ye Chuan dodges it with ease. From the shadows of the trees, 3 menacing figures emerge and block his path. The man who threw the dagger, a 9th-rank apprentice, smirks, arrogantly asking Ye Chuan if he thought he got lucky by dodging his sneak attack. Another heavy-set thug sneers, remarking that Liu Jinglong was right and that Ye Chuan really did dare to leave the city. He wrongly assumes Ye Chuan is a coward trying to abandon his parents and run away from his debt. The third thug reveals their true purpose, explaining that they have been waiting for him for days. He tells Ye Chuan that Liu Jinglong gave them an order. If he ever left the city, they were to break his tendons and drag him back. Unfazed by their threats, Ye Chuan calmly draws his new weapon, the dragon-slaying knife. As he grips the handle, a blue system notification appears. It confirms that his god-slaying edge talent is now active with the new knife. The effect has been greatly enhanced. He will now receive 0.3 free attribute points for every pig he kills with this blade. Ye Chuan is pleased by this, realizing that the superior quality of the new weapon gives him 3 times the attribute bonus of his old knives. Facing the 3 thugs with a dark, confident expression, Ye Chuan holds up his gleaming new weapon. He announces that he is going to let them witness the power of his new treasure, the dragon-slaying knife. The leader of the thugs is not intimidated. Instead, he finds the name of the weapon hilarious. He mockingly repeats the name, dragon-slaying knife. With a wide, unsettling grin, Ye Chuan simply nods in confirmation. This sends all 3 thugs into fits of laughter. They ridicule him, asking if he thinks he is some kind of legendary hero. Ye Chuan's calm voice cuts through their laughter as he tells them he is not, in fact, a dragon-slaying youth. The mood shifts instantly. His eyes begin to glow with a menacing red light, and his new knife is enveloped in a fiery, dark aura. With a terrifying grin, he reveals his true nature, declaring that he is a pig slayer. The thugs' laughter dies in their throats, replaced by shock and fear as they are hit by the sudden, intense killing intent radiating from him. Before the heavy-set thug can even finish his thought about how ridiculous the situation is, Ye Chuan appears directly in front of him in a flash of movement, his eyes glowing with red intent. In a single, fluid motion, he swings his dragon-slaying knife and slices the man's throat. The thug can only clutch at the fatal wound, gurgling as his life ends. Immediately, a blue system notification appears in Ye Chuan's vision. It confirms the kill of one 2-legged pig, rewarding him with a 5% level increase, a 1% boost to his bonus damage against the pig clan, and 0.3 free attribute points. As the heavy-set thug's body collapses, his 2 companions stare in absolute horror. The attack was so fast that they did not even see what happened, leaving them to question if their friend is really dead. Realizing the immense danger they are in, the third thug abandons his partner and makes a run for it, using a speed-enhancing skill to leap away into the trees. The remaining thug, left to face Ye Chuan alone, curses his cowardly companion for his disloyalty. His final moments are filled with terror as Ye Chuan appears before him and, with a single, brutal swing of his glowing knife, decapitates him. Another system notification appears, confirming the second kill and awarding Ye Chuan another level increase, another boost to his bonus damage, and another 0.3 free attribute points. Meanwhile, the final thug is still fleeing through the forest. He is in a state of panicked disbelief, realizing that Ye Chuan's movements were too fast for him to even see. He understands now that his opponent's strength is far greater than his own. Convinced that Ye Chuan is a monster, he consoles himself with the thought that he is a master of escaping and that no one can catch him. His confidence is short-lived. In the next moment, Ye Chuan's dragon-slaying knife comes flying through the air with incredible speed and precision, piercing the fleeing thug through the back. The force of the throw pins his body to a nearby tree, killing him instantly before he collapses, ending the confrontation. Yechuan calmly retrieves his dragon-slaying knife from the tree where it had pinned the final thug. A third and final system notification appears, confirming the last kill and granting him the same rewards as before. He then kneels down to search the body of his victim, justifying his lethal actions by reminding himself that they were the ones who attacked him first. To his surprise, he discovers a small scroll tucked away on the body. Holding up the skill scroll, he realizes he has found some unexpected loot. Upon using the scroll, another system notification appears. It informs him that he has acquired a new elementary skill, Nether Shadow. When activated, this skill will increase his agility by 30% for a duration of 30 seconds. A greedy smile spreads across Yechuan's face. He is delighted with his new ability, thinking to himself that even though it is just a low-level skill, it is still great because he got it for free. His moment of triumph is cut short. A massive, clawed foot slams into the ground nearby, indicating the arrival of a large, monstrous creature. Yechuan's enhanced senses immediately pick up the new presence, and his gaze darts up into the trees as he prepares for a new threat. Using his newfound agility, he leaps high into the branches of a large tree to get a better vantage point, ready to face whatever is coming next. From his perch in the trees, Yechuan looks down and sees several shadowy, monstrous creatures swarming the bodies of the thugs he just killed. On the ground, one of the fallen men screams in terror as a horrific beast, covered in black spikes with multiple glowing red eyes and a long tongue, descends upon him and tears him apart. Watching the gruesome scene, Yechuan wonders what kind of strange creatures these are. The pack of monsters continues to viciously devour the corpses, splattering blood across the clearing. Seeing that these creatures are man-eaters, Yechuan's expression hardens. With a cold smile, he decides they cannot be allowed to live. He activates his new skill, Nether Shadow, and a system prompt confirms the 30% boost to his agility. He then leaps through the trees with incredible speed, closing in on the monsters below. He descends from the canopy, launching himself directly at one of the spiky beasts. The creature reacts instantly, firing a volley of sharp, black spikes from its body in defense. Yechuan is caught off guard by the speed of the attack, and several of the spikes pierce his arms and torso. Despite the painful injuries, he does not stop his assault. With immense force, he throws his dragon-slaying knife, which glows with power as it flies through the air and slices the monster clean in half. With black spikes still sticking out of his body, Yechuan's eyes glow a menacing red. A system notification appears, confirming the kill of one Stinger Pig. He receives a 5% level increase, a 1% boost to his bonus damage, and another 0.3 free attribute points. The system also informs him that he is now only 80% of the way to reaching the next rank. Though clearly in pain, he looks triumphant. He dismisses the painful wounds, casually thinking to himself that it is just like getting acupuncture.